Well, just in case you missed the exciting announcement, the dates for the 2024 Rise and Thrive Conference are officially live. You can join us in person August 16th and 17th in Topeka, Kansas for the most encouraging and empowering event of the year. Now, if you've never been to the Rise and Thrive Conference, it's more than just an event, but it's an experience where women from all walks of life connect, learn, and grow. Now, if you would like to attend, all you have to do is head to daniellejmartin.com for all the details. That's daniellejmartin.com. Share this with your ambitious girlfriends and make it a ladies' night out so we can rise and thrive together. Welcome into Behind the Spotlight podcast, where your story matters. I'm Danielle J. Martin, your host, and I'm on a mission to empower and educate you towards your greatness. On this podcast, you'll learn ways to turn your thoughts into action. Plus, you'll also learn from individuals who will share personal experiences and actionable steps on how to create the life you desire. Now, let's dive into today's episode. What's up, you guys? Welcome back into Behind the Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Danielle J. Martin, and we are continuing this amazing series honoring women. Now, I know right now you're saying, well, it's April, Women's History Month is over. However, if you're listening to the Behind the Spotlight podcast, we're always honoring women. So I'm super excited to sit down with some more powerhouse women who are doing big things in their community or in their business. So today, welcome to the show, Lindsay Freeman. How are you?
Great. Hi, Danielle. Thanks for having me.
How are you feeling today?
I'm excited to be here, excited to talk about our incredible community and all the things I have going on too.
I know. Okay, so first of all, many people know who you are, right? Lindsay Freeman is a known name in the Topeka community. I will say that because, honey, you have a full resume of everything. Like, highly impressed. And I always like to start with how I met people on the show. And I remember back when we recorded this commercial for our local company, corporate company here, Blue Cross Blue Shield, an insurance company, and ran into you. And then I was familiar with your name through Jessica, one of our mutual friends. Yes. And I'm like, I feel like I need to know you. And then we just like stayed connected ever since. And I'm like, wow. Like, your spirit is so contagious. Your energy is so contagious. So I just wanted to give you your praise and just say that, like, ever since I met you, it's just been easy, right? And it's kind of hard to come across. Not many people have that energy. I will say that. And so I just enjoy your presence. And so, but in the meantime, before I continue to go on and on, I want you to tell us a little bit more about you, where you started. I know you used to work at Advisors Excel, so that's another fun fact as well. But now you work at Kansas Gas Service. So tell me a little bit about that. But let's also start from the beginning. What did you do at AE?
Sure. So yeah, I'm Lindsay Freeman. I've been in Topeka. I'm coming up on 12 years. So I'm a transplant to Topeka. I was not born and raised here, much like you. I moved here for a career with Payless Shoe Source. So that's I moved to Topeka for Payless, loved it. But it was at the end of the company. Yeah. And that's how I got on with Advisors Excel, is I saw an opening with the company to be the assistant to the president of life insurance. And I thought, I've never been an assistant before, but I think I can try. I think I can do it. I was an analyst at Payless. And so I crunched numbers and stared at the computer most of the day. Wow. And boy, did I take the best job at Advisors. I said for a number of years. Then I created the best job. But Jim Bowman is a dream come true to work for.
He is awesome.
He is.
I love him.
Imagine that being your gateway into AE.
He is a really good person too.
Yes.
That's amazing. And then you created this job, this kind of community
so
engagement.
Dave, Derek, and Cody really created it, but that they posted it. I kind of got tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, would you be interested in something like this? And I thought, well, I'm outgoing. I think I can talk to a lot of people. I'll take a swing at it. I obviously was I interviewed and got the position, and I did that for a little over 5 years. So I created Advisors Excel's community giving and the vision along with the founders, and really brought it to be something that's been recognized in the community that now my predecessor, who's equally, if not more incredible, has taken it and grown even more along with her current team and our mutual friend, Jessica.
Yes.
So, I had a great run at Advisors, and I still to this day give so much credit to the founders and to Jim and to my bosses that were at AE and just the opportunities that it allowed me.
Wow.
And to grow. And I think that's really where it's funny that you say I'm known in Topeka, but that's probably what created it for me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Is the opportunities that AE gave me. And I'll tell you, as a transplant, I won't speak for you, but it was really hard to get to know people in Topeka.
Oh, for sure.
It's a small, big town. And I never felt like I found my clique of fellow women. And I was always searching for that group. And AE really helped me, through my position, meet so many incredible women in our community and men.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the launching point.
Oh, I love that. That's a really good point, because like when I first moved to Topeka, I used to work at WWW. So it was like, I will say, like, being in Topeka and working at the news station, I think that was my launching pad. You know what I mean? Because it does force you to get in the community and meet different types of people. And so if it wasn't for me, like, getting out, I would probably just stay within my bubble, because I was already staying within my bubble. But like getting in the community kind of like really forced me. And then like my job at the time definitely forced me to like get to know the community, which was really cool. But what I love about AE's community engagement, even though we're a financial company, like we still focus on serving the local community in a huge way. Yeah. And I love that so much. But I'm really curious how you went from this, let's say, life insurance, you went to community engagement, and now you work for Kansas Gas, and now you're the state manager, community relations. Talk to me about that transition.
Yeah, that transition. So essentially what I did for AE is what I do for Kansas Gas Service on a statewide level now. So my team and I work across the state, 640,000 customers and about 300 plus communities to make sure that affordable, reliable natural gas stays in their communities. So we work every single day with city managers, city councils, elected officials, chambers of commerce, just to make sure the businesses in their communities have gas and what they need to be productive and to continue contributing to the community. Yeah. But also the residents have what they need. So I like to say I firefight a lot, but in good ways. You know, it's mostly solving problems so that our business can grow to help them grow.
Right. That's amazing. And it's really interesting how a lot of like big corporate companies have like this community relations side, because when you hear Kansas Gas or when you hear Advisors Excel or Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's just so easy to say, okay, this is an insurance company. This is a financial company. But it's like, it's so much bigger than that. Okay. I told you before we started, I'm like, Lindsay, we're not going to sit here and read your bio, but we are going to have a very honest and authentic conversation about just women in leadership, right? And I honor just your path and how you were able to kind of climb the ladder, because I think you can speak from the space of what it takes to, one, be in that space of leadership and really help women who want to be in that space of leadership and how to get there. So the first question I have for you is, for someone who is seeking to be a director or a manager, what's like something you recommend that they do to get to that space?
Yeah. So first, they have to make sure that their leaders know they have the desire to grow. Yeah. A lot of people are very content, and there's nothing wrong with being content in your current position. You're really good at it. It feels safe. It's comfortable. It's okay with being content. But if you want to continue to grow, you need to make sure that your leaders know that your aspirations are, challenge me. Give me something bigger to go for. I want to continue to grow. That's something I've been really diligent about doing. Yeah. Asking for stretch assignments. You know, throw me a big one. Let me see what I can do. And I think that's what's afforded me a lot of the opportunities. I've worked really hard. I will give myself the credit that I've worked really, really hard, but I've asked for it. And if you don't ask, they don't know.
That's a really good, like basically like closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right.
So for someone who may be seeking or desiring to want to advance, or let's even say something tactical or standard that's like, I want a little bit more attention from my manager, or I want to get on new projects. But why are women still afraid to speak up?
I think women are afraid to speak up because we're afraid of being seen as overpowering. We're afraid of our voices honestly being heard sometimes, and the reputation that can come with that. But that's something that I've kind of always, it's been in the back of my mind. In fact, there's been times that I've thought, oh, you probably stepped out of turn. You said something you shouldn't have. But no, I didn't. And if my voice isn't at the table, my opinion's not there either.
That's so good.
And that's how we get engaged. That's how we get involved. They don't have to take our advice, but at least we're there to help and contribute.
That's so good.
So again, that goes back to saying something. And you know, if you aspire to grow and do that, set up one-on-ones with your leadership. Find a mentor. My most favorite mentors and experiences have been outside of my companies. And that's by design. They don't necessarily know my day-to-day, but I can ask them questions about their day-to-day. And it's more about them telling me, not them listening to me and knowing what I already do. So find a mentor that can help challenge you as well.
That's a good point. So you're saying you don't necessarily have to find a mentor within your company. That's really good. Okay. But also going back to what you said as far as like speaking up, having these one-on-ones, do you think this gap also comes from maybe women having imposter syndrome?
Oh, I think so for sure. I think we're afraid of our own shadows at times. It's like, just be proud.
Yeah.
As Tara Rins, we talked about this before, said, be who you came to be. If you know you're confident, if you know you have it within you to speak up and say something, do it. Be who you came to be. I love that saying and it guides me all the time. But I also think women are, raising families. They're taking kids anywhere and everywhere. And even if they don't have kids, they've got friends and they have lots of commitments, maybe to community organizations or their church or whatever it is. And we tend to really busy ourselves with lots of things. Sometimes it takes scaling back in certain ways to grow in other areas. So I think it's also really important to be intentional with your time.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love that you said that statement that sometimes you do have to scale back. Your way of advancing forward is really just being still. I feel like this is my year of being still. People don't believe me because they're like, Danielle, what are you doing for your birthday? Nothing. I am being still this year. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Earlier I was telling you, I'm like, if I can just tell myself to stop doing so many projects, but I love what I do. And I think that staying busy, I've been saying recently that I love staying busy, but my soul and my mind doesn't enjoy it. And so it's how do you align with that? But for you, I'm curious if you can speak to the women that don't know how to get there as far as confidence and speaking up. Because when I hear you, you're like, I asked for it. I knew what I wanted. You were kind of clear. How did you gain that confidence?
Yeah, I think that's where a mentor can really help.
Yeah.
They can encourage you and challenge you. And you can be, it should be somebody you trust. You can be vulnerable with that person and say, this isn't something I'm great at, or it's something I think I'd be good at, but I haven't really had the right opportunities. I think mentors can challenge you and give you opportunities and ideas of when to speak up. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's something I think is a challenge for me every day. There's something uncomfortable in my day, whether it's a conversation I have to have as a leader. Or just picking up the phone to have a difficult conversation, whether it's good or bad, it's still a challenge. So getting comfortable, being uncomfortable is also important. So it may not be within you right now, but I think it really probably is within you. You just got to tap on it and kind of turn up the heat little by little by little on yourself.
That's so good. Okay, let's shed light on the leaders in leadership. Right? I feel like it's so easy to sit here and say, leaders should do this, leaders should do that. When you're not a leader yourself, it's so easy to nitpick all the things. But I love what you said as far as you're in this transition. We've talked about it too as well, where you're like, I'm in a new space. And I know what that space is like. There's something about that transition that's so uncomfortable. You're like, I have to show up every day, put a smile on my face, and it's hard as heck. But speak from a leader standpoint. What are leaders dealing with? What are some challenges that you guys have to face?
Yeah, I think it really started during COVID for me. So my transition from Advisors Excel to Kansas Gas Service was in the middle of COVID in June of 2020. Wow. And I came in as a leader to a 4-person team that from the external. So I had a lot of cards stacked against me. we're learning to manage in new ways. We have staff that are working remotely because that's becoming a newer, bigger thing.
Right.
And how do you bring the team together? How do you build camaraderie? How do you build trust? How do you communicate expectations?
Yeah.
Lots of stuff like that. I think the business world is just challenging as a whole. Recruiting is incredibly difficult right now. You
People
get a
are
lot
not
of
working.
No,
People are not working. Nope. What are they doing?
I don't know, but I'm curious. Are they shopping? Because
I'm curious. I'm like, where are people at? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good. So recruiting is really, really hard. So I think a lot of our leaders are challenged with finding employees that want to come to work and give it their all and be there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And while adapting to the ever evolving climate of the workforce.
That's so good. And I think that it's really important to shed light on the things that leaders are dealing with, because like I mentioned, it's easy to say like, you should do this and you should do that. How can an employee or a person that's working with their manager give their leaders a little bit more grace?
Yeah, I think they need to listen. Listen. I am a transparent leader as much as I can be. Yeah. So when I have information to share with my team, I'll usually say, here's what I need to share. This is where it's coming from. And I help them understand it. That's how I lead, is through transparency.
That's good.
Not all leaders are like that. And that's for various different reasons. There's sometimes things that I can't divulge all the details on or whatever, but I'm very cautious and very careful to make sure that I help them understand everything that I think that they need to know. But I also want them to turn around after they've listened and ask me questions. What did I not cover? What would help you understand this more? What would help you be more effective in your roles based upon what I just said or the climate of business right now? Yes. But just, I think, giving each other grace, and that goes both ways. Yeah. Leader to their team and the team back to the leader, giving grace and just understanding that there's a lot going on and there's always more happening in everybody's lives than what's on the surface. And just giving grace to each other and understanding that like, yep, this wasn't your best day, but yesterday was really good and I know tomorrow is going to be better. And so I'm just going to let this go for today. I think that is one of the most respectable qualities in a person.
Wow. That's so beautiful. I love that. Thanks. I really do. Okay. Let's I want to ask you, who is Lindsay Freeman behind the title? So let's get into your personal life. I know you're a mother of 4.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't wait to get into this. Some of your children are adopted.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So tell me a little bit more about that journey.
Sure. So who is Lindsay Freeman? Well, I am honestly what I tell people, who you see at the office is pretty much who you see at home. I go. And that's partially because I'm a mom of 4. But I'm married to a Topeka firefighter. He's a career firefighter. He's been with the city for I think 18 years now. So
thank you for your service.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. So he is gone 24 hours at a time. So I've learned, since we started having a family, that it's on me for 24 hours at a time. And so that presents challenges, but it also, I'm really, really close with our kids because of that, because it's just the 4 of us sometimes. I have a stepdaughter, Grace, who's 14. She goes to Topeka High, and she is just absolutely incredible. She plays soccer for Topeka High and keeps us really busy there. And then we have Ayla, who is soon to be 12, and she's our dancer and a really, really good student and just happy-go-lucky. And then we have Jason, who is our currently foster son, but in the next few weeks, probably maybe by the time our podcast airs, will be adopted. So that's the little guy in my life that he's been with us for 6.5 years. So we're going to complete that process and complete our family with him. And then last but not least is Claire, and she's 9. And she's a hoot. She looks like me. She talks like me. Now she has long fake press-on nails on. And
like
she
you?
Likes to
I love it.
She's a hoot. So who am I? I'm fun. I like to laugh. I like to have a good time.
Yes.
I can't take yourself too seriously. I don't take myself too seriously. I can be serious when I need to, but darn, I don't like to be that serious all the time. I like to have a good time. I like for people to see my soft side and know that I care more than anybody they'll ever meet. And I certainly want my children to feel that every single day.
That's beautiful. I really think that's a strong strength that you have, is like, I know you know how to be stern without even like working with you on that level, but I also know like you're very like soft in a good way and like very genuine and like knowing knowing how to just, like you said, like have fun. And not many people like say that they're fun, but like, I love that you're like, no, I know I'm a fun person. Like I know.
love jokes. I like to have fun. I like to play pranks. Like, that's my MO. But I also, like you said, I can be stern when I need to, but man, I don't like to show that side if I don't have to.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into this journey of foster care. I really think it's a very brave step that you've taken, and I really think you can speak to the women who may be interested in doing that, or maybe want to know a little bit more information. So where do you start?
Yeah. So Erin and I's fostering journey started at Advisors Excel. So I created a program while I was there with Topeka Public Schools that was a mentoring program at Sheldon Head Start. And there, whether it's Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or CASA, any of these organizations, they're always in need of males.
Yeah.
Male mentors, male advocates are a huge thing. There's some children that are more comfortable with a male, that, you know, a male to male bond or whatever it is. Males are always in need. So I create this program with Sheldon, and they're like, we have a little boy who needs a match. Do we have any more men? I'm like, crickets. Where are the guys at AU? God. And I had a good number of them that were helping us. But I didn't have enough. So I kind of tapped on my husband's shoulder and said, would you come see him? Yeah. And so they started mentoring actually more than that, about 8 years ago.
Wow.
And they knew each other for a little over 2 years when Jason became a child in need of care, and the rest is history. So it was through a Big Brothers, Big Sisters type of mentoring match that we met him, and he moved in November of 2018 and 2017 and he's never left, and he will never leave. And that is such a good feeling. But what I would tell women is it's a challenge. There's our system is very, very overburdened. There's a lot of children that need time and need attention. And again, there's jumping off points. You can do a school-based mentoring program, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, like that. It's incredible. Yeah. It's, you're not necessarily moving the child into your house like, Erin and I radically did a few years after meeting him. But there's ways to get involved in children's lives if you don't want to go as far as fostering. But if you want to go as far as fostering, there are agencies in this very community that are always looking for families, for individuals. You can foster as just an individual.
Wow.
You do not have to have a partner. You can be a single family, single head of household and still foster. Yeah. There's classes you can take to learn more, but educate yourself. Find out, with the foster care system, you can say, I'm okay having a child move into my house that is known for starting fires. Yeah. Or maybe, that makes me a little nervous. I'd prefer not to have a child that has a history of fire starting. You can even go with your preferences as far down as doing something like that. Right. Of course, we didn't know our son's tendencies when he moved in. We took a huge chance, or a huge risk. But I think that's kind of the name of my game as well. When you asked who is Lindsay Freeman, I'm a risk taker. And I took a risk when I married a man that had a daughter already. That was a big risk. I took a risk when I made a jump from Advisors Excel to Kansas Gas Service. We all take risks. You just have to believe in yourself and just believe that you can make it work.
I love that. And I want to go back a little bit to where you mentioned that when your son was looking or needing a home, nobody was raising their hand. What made you say, okay, we're the parents, let's do this, right? Even to go ask your husband, what made you say okay, this is maybe for us?
Yeah. We had grown so attached to him. So I had a little girl that I mentored in his same classroom named Latavier. Yeah. And she's my baby. I still have a picture of her on my desk. And I
remember you told me about her. Yes.
She's amazing. So we would see each other in the classroom. And so Erin kind of developed a bond with Latavier, and I had developed a bond with Jason. And so when the state called and asked us, I can still tell you where we were standing. I can tell you how we were postured in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
And I just thought, who are we to not take a chance? And Erin said, well, I'm gone 24 hours at a time. Do you think this is something you could do? Wow. And I thought, I got this. I can do this. But again, I was taking a risk. And it just, you don't know until you try. but you also know what's best for your family. So,
That's
you know,
true.
he moved in for a few weeks. We could have what they call disrupted, and, you know, he would have moved on to a new family. He's an incredible little man. And there would have never been a day that I would have disrupted. I would have stood by him and made sure that he had an advocate. And I am, clearly, my husband and I both are, for the rest of his life.
That's so beautiful. And that's powerful because, like you said, it takes a strong person to step up. I don't know if I told you, but Michael used to be a foster parent as well. So he's very familiar just with the system and everything that's broken about it. It's unfortunate, but I think it's really good to know that there's good people still out there willing to take the risk to say, you know what, like, I'm going to step up and we're going to do something. We can make it better, just one person at a time. And so I really do appreciate that story. That's very brave of you. Okay, so I want to get into, you keep mentioning that you're a risk taker. Do you enjoy like the adrenaline of that? Are you like, ooh?
I think I kind of do. I never really think much of it.
Yeah.
I like a challenge. So I think that is why I'm okay with taking risks, is I like a good challenge. I'm, you know, in the corporate world, my goals are set and I know what they are, and I'm constantly thinking about them and, trying to make a strategic next move to help us hit the goal that we have for my team. And so I think I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, but I'm also a challenge seeker.
I love that. So what's next? Do you have any like project in the back of your mind that's like, I'm considering this, personal or professional, doesn't matter. Yeah. What's like next on your radar?
I don't know, maybe a run for office someday. We'll see.
Oh my gosh. Why did I get so excited?
We'll see. I think that my kids need to be a little bit older.
Okay.
But I think that could be down the line.
Okay, like in legislation or city council?
You know, there's always a starting point. A lot of people start with city council or they start with a school board.
Okay.
Which is, wow, what a great place to make an impact and change is through your school board or through your city council.
Yeah.
That's probably why I love working with councils so much, is getting to see the change that they're able to enact and to help their residents with. But you can go straight into the legislature. So I don't know. I was a member of Leadership Kansas in 2023. And had some incredible legislators in my class, and really was inspired by Senator Kelly Warren and just her perseverance. And while, you know, not everybody's viewpoints align with hers, she was a great listener. So I learned a lot from that situation, you know, through the course. And so that might be down the road. I think that is on my heart. But again, my family is number one, and we are coming into prime sports ages. And
You're doing all the things every weekend.
But I'm not convinced that I couldn't do it all, because I somehow managed to do it now. But I think that could be what's coming up. I'm in school right now. I'm in a strategic leadership program through UMKC.
Okay.
So that was another. I just always want to grow. And so I think, you know, the next thing might be another growth opportunity.
I love this. Yeah. I can see that so clearly for you. Okay, so when you decide to make that transition, you're going to have to definitely come back and let us know right here on the podcast.
Make an announcement.
Yes, we could be the first to know. We'll set you up a nice interview. Before we close out, I'm really curious if you can just leave us with just a few words of wisdom, is what I like to say. If you can speak to the women that are seeking leadership, the women in leadership, what advice could you leave them and encourage them with? Yeah,
I think follow your heart. Your heart will never, ever, ever let you down. And use your voice, follow your heart, believe in yourself, and you can do anything you set your mind to.
That's so good. Okay, when you say follow your heart, I'm thinking about, I'll say like women like myself, right? And I kind of, you mentioned this earlier as far as like asking questions and not being afraid to speak up and things like that. Can you talk about, is there something wrong with being transparent? Is there something wrong with like being a little bit too kind, right? Because it's like, we kind of talked about this a little bit, like women in leadership feel like they have to put on this like kind of mask of hardcore, like I deserve to be in this position. But like there are some like hardcore soft leaders, right? And so kind of talk to me about really quick, like, do you think there's something wrong with being too transparent?
I think transparent and soft are two different things for me. So transparent is me being honest and open and forthcoming. But being a soft leader, I've seen some of the softest leaders get absolutely steamrolled by their team. And it's because they didn't have a grasp. They didn't have confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
They didn't have the answers. Instead of just saying, I don't know, let me find out, they tried to give an answer that they didn't have, and they lost the confidence of their team. So I think you can be kind. Soft is also not necessarily kind.
Yeah.
So being a kind, fair leader is incredibly important.
That's good.
But it can have drawbacks because you have to still maintain confidence and lead your team and help them to see that I have your back. I've got it.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, we're in this together. I believe in you.
Yeah.
It's really, really important.
That's good. Okay. I actually thought of another question too that I'm curious, because I asked you this before we started, but like I don't think I got your answer. So I'm like, I actually want to know what it is, because with the Rise and Thrive conference coming up, I'm super excited. We are going to be really focusing on helping women find their personal mission statement. So for you, Lindsay Freeman, what would you say is your personal mission statement?
My personal mission statement. Right now, I think I'm gonna steal from Tara Rins and say, be who you came to be.
Yeah.
Right now, that leads me in a lot of things. Be who I came to be. I came into this podcast today to be exactly who I am. I'm giving you the honest answers that are from my heart, that are how I guide my team, how I guide myself every single day. So be who you came to be. This is who I am as a person, as a mom, as a friend, as an employee. So yeah, I think that's my current, but I feel like it evolves depending on where I'm at in life.
I think so too. Yeah. I think like it depends on like what season. Like I think this season I can say like my personal mission statement is just to be still and be whole. But maybe next season it might be like, let's take on the world. Like, you know, I don't know. But I appreciate all your insights today. And for those who want to stay connected to Lindsay Freeman, I'll put all of her information down below. They can follow you on LinkedIn and stay up to date because you may see her in office one day. In the meantime, thank you so much.
Thanks, Danielle.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. If you found value in this episode, I'd love to hear your thoughts on your key takeaways. Take a moment, download this episode, and share your feedback by leaving a review for this episode. Better yet, snap a screenshot and share it on your social media. Now, don't forget to tag me so I can personally connect with you. Your insights might just be what someone else needs. Now, let's make an impact together.